I'd like to call to order the Townsend Conservation Commission meeting for October 11th, 2023 at 7:01 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
James DeRoyan.
James Gates.
Colby Schrader.
Pat Jello.
This meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and or deletions. I do not have any. Chair report. It's minimal. It's actually kind of quiet. Knock on wood. One thing I want to note that when we do a roll call vote, we want to make sure that we say yay or nay or yes or no after our names, so that it's clear for the meeting minutes. I also want to thank the land use office staff for helping with the meeting minutes.
Meeting Jessica.
And Allison, the new grant writer, has helped with it.
That's her name, Allison.
But yes, mostly Jessica.
Yes.
So, review and approve the meeting minutes from 8/23 and 9/13/23. Everyone reviewed them. Did you look at them quick?
Yes.
Very good. So any motion in a second?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for date of 8/23.
23. And 9/13/23.
And both at the same time.
Sure.
Okay. Motion to approve the meeting minutes for the meetings of both 8/23 and 9/13.
I'll second that.
24.
Pat seconded. Roll call vote, please.
James DeRoyan, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Colby Schrader, yes.
Pat Jello, yes.
Hello.
Not sure I like the new setup, but
The new what?
the new setup.
Yeah.
Here for it. 1.6 staff report. Hi, Jessica.
Hey. All right, so September 28th to October 11th, one building permit signature for 7 Pheasant Ridge Road. No referrals were done. Board of Health interdepartmental signatures for 94 Fitchburg Road, 25 Bailey Road, 29 Emery Road, 17 Saunders Road, and 98 West Meadow. Completed approvals since the last meeting. I issued the order of conditions extension for the Greenville Road over Walker Brook Bridge to the Highway Department. And then I issued an administrative approval for 18 Laurelwood Drive for the removal of a few dead and leaning trees in a wetland buffer. Applications that we have in right now, still the request for COC for 27 Scales Lane. We have reached out to the applicant for that a few times and have not heard back. And then a request for COC for 50 Highland Road, which you guys will be reviewing tonight. Miscellaneous things, mailed, as you guys discussed, I think at your last meeting, we mailed a notice of violation letter to 61 Edward Road on October 5th, indicating an appointment at the next Conservation Commission meeting on October 25th. Same deal, a notice of violation was mailed to 187 Pierce Road. They did receive it, and the recipient requested an appointment on the November 8th meeting because they had some work schedule conflicts. And then otherwise, we've been working on some notice of the FEMA flood map, flood hazard map, proposed map changes, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
The cat.
Yeah.
So you didn't see that. But yeah, a copy of the 2 notice of violation letters is in the OneDrive for tonight's meeting.
Here. So one of the things with Edward Road is that culvert collapsed under 119.
Yeah.
So the area's flooded, but he's still in violation and the letter's been sent, so.
Right, that should have no bearing on,
It doesn't, I'm just noting it.
they're going in to do a culvert repair soon or something?
No idea.
Cool. Moving on.
Any backup of water into the property?
Yes.
Yeah. Seems to be hand in hand with the collapse these days. Now, 27 Scales Lane, Jessica, that relates back to Mr. King, correct?
Yes.
And that was close to what, 5 years ago?
Jessica, did he file an extension did Brett file an extension?
He did. Yep. Yeah. So they had an order of conditions issued in 2019. It expired in 2022, but you guys did issue a 1-year extension. So it's
The extension is exceeded then.
I don't remember how long it lasts. I think
What was
it's
it?
good through like November, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
If the extension was extended in 2021,
2022.
2022 for
22.
a 1-year duration.
Okay,
2023, so.
okay. So it's time that comes together and is addressed and finalized. That's been quite some time. And the other question would be, was that letter of violation received at 61 Edwards Road? Did it get turned around? Do we know if it is in hand of the client?
I mailed just regular first class and certified to both addresses.
But as of this afternoon, you hadn't received a confirmation of the delivery.
Right.
Did you check the tracking number by chance?
No, I did not. I only checked my mailbox this morning when I came in, so it is possible we got it today, but.
Give it time.
Well, we know that 187 Pierce Road either got the first class or the certified because they sent an email
That there
requesting
some time with
a different,
those were the 3 different reclamation areas that were in lieu.
yes.
Okay.
But, so we know someone got it.
It was received, somebody got it.
One of them.
61 Edwards
We
Road,
just
it
don't
seems like it's gonna be important, we make sure that he has taken and
I'll look it
received
up right
it.
now.
Well, I'm just saying, it seems like that piece of paper has been shoved back every time, so.
We have 5 minutes before our first appointment. Jessica, was there anything else that anyone have any questions for Jessica?
Not for me.
Did you have a nice work week this week, Jessica?
And lovely, yes.
Okay,
I'm looking at the tracking for 61 Edward, and they did a delivery attempt on October 7th at 11:57 a.m. and it was failed. So I think they tried twice.
and usually the post office is the same as UPS, there's 3 attempts until they'll RT it back to you saying, no luck with making contact with.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's either 2 or 3 attempts. I'm not exactly
Right,
sure.
something that was- Okay, 2 have been made at least in verification, so he still has not received it. Good, all right.
Which is why I sent it via 2 methods,
Correct,
because this has happened before. So
okay. reason why I asked.
How goes the search for a new conservation agent, a new Matt?
Nothing. Oh, sorry. Nothing.
Okay.
What happened to him?
We heard the crickets.
He
Resigned for
resigned,
health reasons.
yeah.
Bigger.
A
Well,
lot of work.
the health reasons were pretty serious,
Mhm.
so. 7:12, Mr. McGee is here. Frank is with us. Courtney came along for the ride.
Frank is with,
Phyllis and Roy.
mhm.
So Jessica, do you mind us if we start that?
Go for it.
So October 2nd, a letter was sent to Dr. McGee requesting his attendance to this conservation meeting to discuss the reference property regarding the WPA section 10.5, section 6 subsection J. And that is failure to comply with conditions stated in the order and with all related statutes, other regulatory measures shall be deemed cause to revoke or modify the order conditions. Now, this is where so to discuss further, Jessica, why don't you start this discussion and then I'll add to it, and then we can hear from Frank from Dillis and Roy. Talk to Dr. McGee about things. A lot of this has to do with the area of disturbance is greater than the 5,000 square foot mark, and Dr. McGee also has not received the 401 water quality certification approval yet, which is a part of the order of conditions. Jessica?
Yeah, so I'm trying to pull up the WPA. There are performance standards for different types of resource areas. So different resource areas include bordering vegetated wetlands, banks, like stream banks, bordering land subject to flooding or, floodways. So anyway, so each of those different water resource areas have different performance standards that the state has made in the Wetlands Protection Act. And there is a performance standard for bordering vegetated wetland, which includes that an order of conditions can be issued by the issuing authority, so in your case, the Conservation Commission, for a loss of up to 5,000 square feet of a bordering vegetated wetland when it is replaced, mitigated for in a certain fashion. So anyway, there's a 5,000 square foot sort of cap on disturbance. For the case here, the application materials that the commission reviewed, the application materials said 5,000 square feet of impact was proposed. During our, so as such, the application appeared in compliance with the performance standards. During the site visit with Mass DEP in early September for the 401 water quality certification, so the separate state permit, we all observed that there was greater than 5,000 square feet of alteration. So, end of the day, the reported disturbance is larger than is permittable. So, as such, the project design, the project in general, does not meet those performance standards. So,
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
I've been in contact with the NRCS. They came out and gave us a plan, and they've been in contact with the Massachusetts Conservation Commission. I got a thing here with how it should be done and everything. He says it's very simple situation to straighten this out. And I've got it all here in writing, and Dan Lenthal has been in contact with the two girls who are here from Massachusetts Conservation Commission. They worked with him in the past, so I think he supersedes what goes on here. The NRCS supersedes this, and
You're saying Dan Lenthal supersedes?
yes, I believe so.
Do a little more homework on that.
Well, that's what I've been told. I'm
Just a
asking.
little
I'm
more
asking you.
homework with the statement.
He's
I know
got-
Dan
He's
Lenthal
got a plan
personally.
here, I just do.
Okay, I'm just saying, just, you save you some time.
So anyway, he got a plan that he's put together here, and he's been in contact with the two girls with the Massachusetts Conservation Commission also. Oh, I spent my time to go over there, to go over this, and he spent his time to come over here and spend a whole day with me and walk the field and everything, and looked and said what had to be done, and I'd be glad to share that with you people.
Have you given any of that information to Dillis and Roy?
Yes, I
'Cause
I mailed it all to Stan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that you guys want the brim that failed fixed, which Jim is supposed to do.
that's the enforcement, so that's separate.
Can I say
So
something
we're not,
about that?
there's nothing gonna change
So
about
then I
that.
guess
People wanted to have the water go
No,
down.
No, I guess I missed,
Us people,
Wait just a minute.
I guess I missed what,
You gentlemen wanted the idea was to have the water to go down there and go down along the rail trail and go down to the brook. After that failed,
rail
you went down,
trail.
look, you went
no,
look
it's
at it.
along it goes
There's
along
a
our
ditch that
property.
goes all the way down the rail.
The water can't leave your property.
It goes, there's
How is it that there's a?
The water wasn't leaving the property until you punched through the berm.
I don't know that that's totally true, but I'm gonna say that.
It wasn't, the
It's-
surface water wasn't leaving the
Let
property.
me say one thing and then you can have what you're saying. It's right on the deed that there's a stream that goes down there that Jessica has made reference to several different meetings. It goes right down through the center of the field, so the water has to have some place to go.
Do you have a copy of your deed with you, so I can see the
I
reference?
can give you that. I can show you that. She's reference to it on 3 different meetings about the stream that supposedly goes down through the field. And the idea was to go down there, and I'm gonna tell you what's happened since those two dams were put up. When it rains, I get a pond there that's about 200 by 200 feet that sits in the field. Now, since that dam is filled, it goes down and it goes right along the edge and goes right down towards Pepperell, right down to the brook, right along the side of the rail trail where it's
no,
supposed to
it's
go.
it's in our field. It's not the rail trail. It makes it goes.
No, there's a ditch that goes along the side of the rail trail, and the water ends up over there, which is what they wanted to do in the first
But
place.
when they fix the brim, wherever the hell the thing, green brim, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
I keep saying it wrong. It's gonna run along the channel that was made,
Right, exactly.
so when
And
you
it
do
goes
that.
down along the side of the rail trail where the ditch has been there for years, it was put there by the,
So whenever
by the
Jim
railroad.
fixes that. So I guess I'm missing what, so you said,
why are you smirking? I'd love to know.
we
why you
still have the
smirk.
enforcement order,
That's what I do.
so that I don't
My
understand.
face does that when my ears are
This is-
Well, I'm
listening.
glad you
If
asked.
you have a problem with
This
that,
is-
that's not a problem. We can go in another direction with the meeting, Mr. McGee.
Hold on, Jimmy,
I'm not looking to go in any other
listen,
direction.
point of order,
Give it-
point of order.
So I guess I'm missing
The-
what, enforcement
berm-
order is something totally, there's two different
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Okay.
So the berm that's under the enforcement order, yeah, originally when we had that heavy rain, it was a
Right.
constant stream running
Right.
through it. I said to fix it, but then I thought about it,
Right,
you really couldn't.
and then we tried to get,
You left us a message, I think James did.
Well,
After,
I have,
wait just a
I have the
minute.
email, so
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
not.
you have the email, okay. That, you went down there, I thought that when the initial email, you said that there was a small amount of that they broke through. That whole dam
Right,
there
you
broke
know.
through. And when you went down there, you made the reference that the
The turbulency?
turbulences, there wasn't any turbulence and the water was going right out. there, it's never flowed that way, but it does flow that way right now, and goes right down along the rail trail, right down to the brook, where you people wanted it to go to start with. That
No.
Stan told me that it was gonna filter through the other field, which I was gonna ruin another field in that respect, and then go through, and then end up in that ditch and go down to the, brook. Now it's going where it wants to go, it showed you where it wants to go.
Go back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
The first email said that not to worry about the.
So
fixing it
I need to
right away.
reel this in. We're talking about your order of conditions.
So yes, I'm just, there's two
So,
different things. I'm
yes, so
confused about.
we can discuss that part
Okay,
after.
so I thought we were
If-
talking about that.
Nope, we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is we have an order of conditions. The project does not meet DEP standards for water quality.
What does that mean?
He's
Exactly.
telling us.
I don't understand that.
What part don't you
What,
understand?
it doesn't meet the quality, I don't.
It does not meet the standards for Mass Department of Environmental Protection water quality.
So what does that mean? Can you explain that to
It
me?
means the DEP at this point in time is not releasing the 401 water quality report.
So the
A
actual
a
water-
second permit.
the actual
Without
water,
that
like-
report, the work stops, and it's presently gonna be maintained in the hands of the DEP.
Okay, why did Jessica tell us?
I'm only answering your question. You send your questions to the chair, please, not me.
Okay,
What is,
Latenzi is coming to do the work there
for the.
Friday, because Jessica said that it's gonna be done under the work order, never mind
The
the.
order condition,
No, it's under the enforcement.
enforcement order.
Enforcement order.
Nothing is to be done under we don't have we have an order of conditions. Technically, it's not, the criteria is not being met because there is no, Mass DEP has not issued the water quality certification, which is essentially just another permit.
We asked Jim,
We can't change that.
I know.
We
Yeah.
can't,
but we asked Jim to come out, like, it was like the second or third week in September, but he said he couldn't because we were waiting for,
What is it, DPW?
with the water
Correct.
flow.
Am I using the
Something to do with
right
water
term,
flow, he
DPW?
said we were waiting for,
They're waiting for it, you needed a permit from the DPW.
or something with
Now
water
Jessica
flow.
said, never mind that, do it under the
Right.
enforcement order and go ahead and get it done.
For the
But
brick.
So that, this should have been
Okay.
done months ago.
I guess we're all.
we need to reel this, it has nothing to do with the firm.
Okay.
It has to do with the order of conditions. We either need to decide to revoke it and start fresh because the current design does not meet
So
the
what
state of
What
Massachusetts.
Stan's
Okay.
design isn't,
After Latanzi does.
wait a
the-
second,
Okay.
Stan's design needs to be changed, is that what you're saying?
That, from the state's perspective, yes.
And did they give any insight
Any
into what they?
feedback? No.
So we don't know what you want to change about Stan's
So.
plan?
did they
That's
come
part
up-
of dealing with the state.
Okay,
And it's a frustrating thing, not just for you, but for us.
Thank you, Jeff.
okay,
Because we don't get, we ask for feedback. We've asked for feedback every week, multiple times a week for the past month.
Right, I understand,
Nothing.
I understand.
We,
We
It's
have,
frust-
we have Frank's hand up, James, for input.
I just want to add one more thing.
I understand
We're not
that.
trying to drag you
No, I
through
understand what you're
this
saying.
whole thing again because it's fun. It's
No,
not.
you're absolutely right.
It's miserable.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand that they're concerned about.
The aggravation and the money that it's cost me and the
I
money it's cost
understand.
me with my two businesses, this is ridiculous.
Now
And
I
this should have been
understand.
taken care of a long time
I
ago.
understand what you're saying now.
I
But they
understand.
want us to put a
And
change to Stan's.
Latanzi's frustrated too, because he wants to get the thing done, and then he was stopped because he couldn't get it done. Now he's being told that he's gonna get it done, and he's supposed to come
He's-
Friday and finish the thing.
Yeah.
He's only supposed to fix the berm, but that is a separate discussion.
You're not following.
Right now, we are discussing
The water, right?
no, we're discussing the permit that, in the order of conditions, which is the field restoration.
Yeah.
It's the field.
That's
It's
right.
not anything to do with the lower area.
That's what they have a problem with.
That is separate.
Right.
Frank, good
Yes.
evening. for
Thank you.
joining us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here to try to help. So I was just talking to Stan with regard to the 5,000 square foot number. That is the area of the final restored solution that was on the mitigation plan that we had provided. So that's where our 5,000 square foot number came from there. It wasn't It wasn't the total area of the
Disturbance.
disturbance in the field. It was the final restored area. So that's
In front of the,
the basis
in
of
front
that
of the
number.
bermed areas is where you demonstrated the 5,000 feet of disturbance.
I'm sorry, I
Alright.
missed that question. I apologize.
The 5,000 square feet that you put in for the disturbance was down in front of the bermed areas at the end of the restoration area. You didn't include any more disturbance from that section up to the top of the hill.
Or onto DCR property.
Correct.
Which is also part of the calculation.
And when the DEP saw that it was only 5,000 square feet being demonstrated of disturbance, they felt it was way short in square footage estimation of disturbance. This is what has slowed up the 401 water quality. And that's why we're here working this through. Am I correct, Frank?
There were questions about the reported area when we did the site walk, correct? I'm not sure that is what slowed down the 401 water quality cert. I know that Kim Roth,
Till the end of August.
Stanley didn't send it in time. I understand that. We understand that. And when it was received, when they found that 5,000 square feet was only being declared in disturbance, if I'm wrong, please tell me. Is that what put the brakes on as far as that 401 water quality approval being put through so we can keep moving with this?
I don't know that was the thing that slowed down the 401 water quality cert. My discussions with Kim was that she didn't like, Kim Roth from DEP, was that she did not like the final restored solution that we had proposed with the pipe and then the swale on top of it. Now,
yes,
that dovetails into the solutions that Dr. McGee has received, possibly from his sources with the NRCS. I was finally able to discuss this with Kim Roth last night. She returned some emails, and she stated that the DEP would look favorably upon a grassed swale solution to this issue at the property, to not a piped solution. She also told me that part of the reason that she hadn't issued any response was that she was waiting for the commission to act. That isn't the way I remembered our site walk, but that was something that she shared with me last night, which was part of why it's been basically a month since that site walk and nothing had moved on our end, because and not much had
They're all
moved
the
on.
assumption that the state was going to respond to us, and they never did.
Typical.
That was my impression, that a response was coming. That was Stan's impression when I discussed it with him as well, that something was coming from them, even if it was an email with some bullet points for things to be addressed and discussed. But she did tell me that that DEP would look favorably upon a grassed waterway solution, and I shared that NRCS document with her, with that Dr. McGee forwarded to us, and I don't know if you or Jessica has seen that and any of that documentation, but it was a fairly straightforward grass swale design, that design guideline that can be forwarded to the commission. She also, Kimberly also recommended that there be an interim short-term, basically winter stabilization, so that grass swale can be designed and then constructed later.
So what's there to design? how many check dams? Like, two
Um,
isn't gonna be enough.
Can you check
Would you
your,
like to see this? Would you like to take a minute and look at this?
if I email you something, can you get it right now?
Yeah. Like, how quickly can you get this design? I understand the winter
Well,
stabilization.
look at this.
That's not all the plans.
Well,
but-
This is what, Len Hall.
Realistically, there's no more soil to come down the
Exactly
hill.
what Frank is saying.
I don't want to interrupt your meeting. At this point in time, we got other cooks putting spoons into this. DEP should be involved in this meeting at this point in time to assist us with getting through this right now. Now we have Dan Renthal with the Department of Agriculture, NRC in the middle of this, giving him a solution. We got the DEP saying this, and now we have an engineer on the TV saying something else. That's all I'm gonna say.
I can see the townsandmass.gov one.
And then we got
Yeah.
another thing coming here, another
Or the-
solution
or the
from
chief.
Mrs. McGee.
No,
But you got- you got,
the first one.
The first one?
You got, it's agricultural land here that they should be involved.
Are you
Yes.
declared
Yeah.
agriculture?
Yeah.
Then he's actually correct.
I agree.
Giddy up with this.
The original permit was
It's a whole
was not
different
put in as agricultural.
It's a whole
So,
involvement.
maybe we should revoke this order of conditions,
So-
not because we want to, or because we're trying to make this dragged out or painful, quite
Get
frankly.
it done.
Right,
But
Just wait,
Exactly.
wait.
why not revoke it? And then they can reapproach this differently.
right.
The enforcement order is going to stand regardless. It has been a crappy year for rain. It
Yeah,
is just ridiculous. We
absolutely.
can't change it. It was unprecedented to get all these rainstorms.
The year went drought.
And it's gonna be that way from here on
So-
out, if you listen to the weather people. The whole thing has changed.
I think you're right, Jim.
We never had rain like this.
So we don't wanna,
I did not know we were working under guidelines of Department of Agriculture, not the
well,
Department of
no,
Agriculture.
we were.
Are
when
you
this was-
61A? You're declared 61A on your property? Okay, okay.
So when.
Why wasn't that stated in some of this? I did not see anything that said
See,
he is in agriculture.
if we were able to get it done when we went to the gym, when we wanted to get it done, this thing would have been all seated in and it had been over and done with. You know what I'm saying?
I
And we
do.
wouldn't even be here now. Months and months and months ago, this should have been taken care of. But then we start calling other organizations and stuff and get.
No, it's not that. It's the
It's-
checks and balances,
Totally
and
out of
it
control.
got hung up by the state.
Yeah.
It's not us. Plain and
Shouldn't be
simple,
no
it's
problem.
not us.
I know.
It doesn't matter, you weren't under ag prior, you just got the ag.
I filed for it. It was filed for early enough, but. we should
Whoa,
have even
whoa,
got
whoa,
the
whoa.
state involved.
No, he was not under ag when everything was done.
Let's start.
You just went into 61A at
61.
when? Give me the, what's the date?
I got a letter from it way back, I don't know.
This year? You just went into
Yeah.
it this year?
Yep.
This had already been ongoing at that point in time.
Right.
We're
I
over
should have put
here.
it in earlier
You
than
need to
this.
make
I
a
never-
decision on
I
that
never
then too,
anticipated any
also.
of this.
I
That-
don't, we do.
That flags up something, him jumping into agriculture on the interim of a violation in this manner, to put it into an agriculture setting. That, to me, holds a bit of deviation here.
From the
I'm
first,
concerned about that. That needs to be
from
addressed.
the first,
Mr. McGee, you need to slow down and stop interrupting this meeting, or I'll motion for an adjournment, and we'll go 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Slow your horses. We're trying to figure this out.
Jim, come on.
I'm just trying to.
No, Cole. Don't prompt me. I know what I'm looking at.
This
No,
is
no,
the
it's
whole
not.
time.
Point of order. Point of order.
Not being constructive.
Well, no, he.
Construction has to come through the
I
knowledge
agree
of
with both
this.
you. I agree with both of you. You're sliding in, trying to slide in under the radar, but the thing is the permit was already, the application was already submitted prior to receiving, the status.
Correct.
But you can fight with the state on that. You don't have there's no farm plan on
Right.
for the property. You
Right.
need to have a farm plan that has been approved by Conservation Commission in order to
use the ability of a,
Yes,
of the agricultural
James, can I say
structure.
one thing to you? Can I address one thing to you?
please go
Remember
ahead.
the first time that I ever came in here, the first thing that you said that this land has been in agriculture for 60
Yep.
or 100 years. And it has been in farmland all of that time, and you made reference to
It has.
your father-in-law and stuff that farmed it and everything, so it isn't as if it's a new thing here. This community has known that it's been a farm for 100 years that we know about.
Under our bylaws, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Under the state laws, that's different.
Different. It is.
That's the reality of it. That,
Mr. McGee, it can be declared as agricultural as in a visible. In other words, you always have had horses there, it's being hay, it's in an agriculture setting, being agricultural functions. But it is not under a 61A, 61, you know, forestry agriculture, agriculture for foods and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
There is a differentiation between that.
Right.
You have to understand that.
I've gone
You
in,
just went into that, you 61A, I assume?
yes,
Okay,
and I went in and checked on it to be sure that everything was signed, and she says everything is just the way
Correct.
that it should be.
Correct.
61A, I was in there a week ago and talked to them. So
now
here's-
you were down in Westford?
No, I went into
You
the
did
town
go to
offices here.
Okay,
I went
okay.
to Westford.
But that's why you're involving yourself with Dan Lenthal. Dan Lenthal is a part of the
Right.
Department of Agriculture. He's gonna be the one that assists you putting together your agricultural plan,
That's correct.
your best management for manure, horses, et cetera, et cetera.
which
That's-
is separate from the
That's
town's.
why you went and
Correct.
talked to that woman in
Correct.
Westford,
Right.
and they sent you something for that. You did that.
But you still have to submit that farm plan to conservation to review it and to approve it in order for it to be active. Under-
Applicable for us.
The
Yes,
first person that I talked to was Teresa Bockwell.
I'm gonna,
Mhm.
And then,
but we have a point,
Westford.
Jimmy, we gotta reel this in because
I'm,
we need to vote on, do we send this order and allow it to start fresh?
mhm.
Or do we modify it, which we're not gonna modify it tonight because we're in no position to. Our enforcement order states that a stamped engineered plan is required before work on the restoration can begin.
Does the restoration stand in two different phases? The berm location and from the
Berm is-
culvert down?
The berm is under the enforcement.
So it kind of is gonna demonstrate in two different functions, two different areas.
Yes,
Okay,
retaining the water on the property,
from going over the road into the rail trail.
regardless, it has to stay on the property.
Correct. How it meanders to the right and the left
It's not,
remains to be seen.
We can't
What
just-
we're doing is bringing it back to an original structure where it was
And then
prior to them being breached.
restoring,
it's not.
Just wait. Just wait.
restoring the field
Correct.
in a manner that's going to prevent sedimentation movement and also allow vegetation to reestablish and so that
Of a
essentially can be
Of a wetland orientation. That's what's gonna do.
a field wetland, yeah,
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
it becomes. So,
Can I say one thing?
yes,
So Jim's gonna come in and fix, is it brim, is it green, what is it?
Berm,
Berm,
refer to it as the berm.
berm. He's gonna fix the one that went away.
yes.
That's part of your enforcement order.
Wait a minute now, Courtney.
Yes.
What the first brim that you
The
put
first
in,
one's fine.
the first one, we're gonna leave that there.
Yes,
The first one.
We're gonna
The
fix the
second
other
one, it's giving the avenue for the water to get out of there and go where it's supposed to.
it doesn't matter.
No, we're gonna fix
It
it.
has to get replaced.
He's gonna
It
replace it, but
it
we're
was
gonna show
there,
him.
it was there, and it was removed.
So
You
you-
can't flood
No,
another, you
it's
can't
fine.
allow water to
You're
leave your
flooding
property
my
like
field
that.
now, which it
No.
never did before. Wait a minute, Courtney.
Point of
Never-
order,
never did.
point of order. Frank, do you think you
Yeah,
can
listen.
design this to, per the conversation with Dan Lenthal and Kim and everything, and resubmit the, NOI in a reasonable timeframe?
Yes,
The
Yes.
holidays are coming up, and we have.
I do,
Month in November and December, Jessica?
So Jim's gonna fix the thing that went away.
Hold on, Courtney. Go ahead, Frank.
Getting back to that, that timeline, when is your November meetings? Would it be the 8th?
November 8th. And then
November-
December 13th.
And for the November 8th meeting, you would need documents by when?
Next Wednesday. The
By
18th.
the 18th or the 25th?
18th.
18th. A design that I'm comfortable stamping, I would have trouble getting to you by the 18th.
If it becomes a problem, can we call for an emergency meeting? Juggle the dates to,
I don't,
Get this expedited.
if it works for all of us, I don't
Right.
see, Jessica, we could call a meeting to order, you know, off of a different date, as long as it works with TCAM's schedule.
Right.
So-
I would be in favor of going in that route to expedite this. If so be it becomes that we need to call an earlier meeting.
So I want Pat and Colby have been quiet. I'd like if they have any input or questions, to feel free to ask and comment now. Or throughout this, I know,
Yeah, I think we need advice if that approach is gonna be any quicker or easier to cancel this current.
What do you mean advice, Kobe?
You're suggesting to go to use the agriculture angle, correct?
no, it's not for us to decide.
You're
So
missing
what is the
something
new
here.
approach?
Only thing I'm putting
Explain.
forward, is that if do that again, son, you're not gonna do that again, son.
So the burden of proof is on the applicant. That's what it comes down to.
Sorry,
Who is the applicant?
Don't smirk at me.
It's
Don't do it.
you,
that's the thing to do apparently.
both of you. Point of order.
Let me get one thing clarified before we leave here. The one thing that, talking to Jim and stuff, you see what he did behind the other bridge, that he put the ones that's closest to the town inside, that he took and lined that whole ditch with stone and fabric, so that none of the stuff can wash back in. It's showing you where the water wants to go. He was gonna do that on the other side there and make it so that both sides were all stone and all fabric, so nothing could come back in there. The stone was gonna take care of any turbulence that there is there, and then the water can go where it wants to go and end up down in the brook where you people
Right,
wanted
but
to
it's
go to
not-
start with. Wait just a minute,
It's-
Courtney. I wanna just clarify from
You're missing it.
my point of view. So, Jim and stuff has come and looked at it with me and stuff, and this is what it looks like should be done there. So he was gonna take and line that whole area with stone and fabric, so that the water ends up in the ditch and goes right along where it's going right now, because when you went down there and looked at it, the email that you sent us said that there was no turbulence there, and
There's no turbidity, and turbidity is soap.
right, this is
Oh,
gonna
okay.
stop
Oh, I
any
guess so.
turbidity, the way that he was gonna do it, and line the whole area with stone and fabric, so that nothing can be washed in there.
Into your
And any
area.
of the water that comes down there is gonna be stopped, because it's gonna have to go through all that stone, and it's gonna get filtered through there.
No, it's not. It's actually gonna stop the water from leaving the property, and it's going to stay on your property. The riprap spillway is a safety.
Right.
We as the commission cannot tell you how to repair. It needs to get restored to
Right.
what's there. The riprap is just a fail-safe.
Right.
you guys are fine.
You realize when you're looking at the field where the first
The
dam.
water's gonna go through.
You realize that we're a year into this,
I understand.
Dr. McGee, like, I can't, point of order. I'm making a motion to rescind this order and require a resubmittal of the NOI. Do I have a second?
Most likely resigning and abstaining right now. I'm bouncing out of here. I'll finish out the meeting, but I'm not gonna put any more into it. Nothing. I'm abstaining. I don't know what you can do
I'm going
with
to
three.
second that. I think that's what we need to do.
Jimmy? Both, and Colby, both of your points were valid. This is a very difficult and time-consuming and there's been contradictions made all over because this is very, we're walking a freaking fine line. Fact of the matter is, the land wasn't in agricultural use when the work was done. It's on the applicant for the burden of proof. It's not for us to have to figure it out.
Can I ask you what work was done?
No, you're missing it. You're just missing it.
Well, we haven't been able to
Just
get
stop.
Jessica, what's the combined fines that could have accumulated over this time if we actually
I understand.
decided to follow through with that, besides, instead of working with Dr. McGee?
I understand that, Jim.
Just stop.
The Townsend Wetland Bylaw Enforcement and Violations section. This is not verbatim, but you can fine a violator up to $300 per violation per day. So we had the stripping of the vegetation and the regrading of that swale. That's one violation per our bylaw.
Well, how many violations, just real quick? I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's what I'm going through.
Okay.
A second violation is the fill in the offsite wetland, in the DCR wetland, that has remained there. So that's two, at least two. So we'll just go with two. So if we were to, say there's been fill in there this whole time, the stripping of the vegetation that has not been restored or reestablished yet. So that's, if you're maxing everything out, $300 per day, $300 per violation. So $300 times 2 violations times
So recruited into the.
365 days a year. Oh, that's more than $95,000. $219,000.
But yet we've ignored all of it. I don't understand why do you think you did nothing wrong?
No.
Like, I can't keep doing this to you. It's gonna give me a heart attack.
James, can I talk?
He's pissed off,
Yeah.
I'm pissed off, we're done.
Yeah.
I stand with my motion, Pat seconded it. Jimmy, I hope you can vote with us on this, because
I'll vote on this because I'm in it still and I don't want to create that much aggravation, but I'll stand at what I said prior to that, all right?
Before we vote, can you explain me the new avenue? What's gonna happen? I don't understand that.
Well,
I'm watching.
well,
You're the
no,
vice chair.
I
You're
had
the
no
vice
idea
chair,
what
you
was
should
coming
be
in.
on
so
this.
they Blindsided, so.
You're the vice chair, you should be on this and fully in understanding of it.
Okay, Jim. I got a full boatload of crap, Jim.
Okay.
Don't give me that.
the new avenue is throw it all out the window, work with our resources, what should have been done to begin with, and come up with a plan that will work with DEP. Not our fault that they responded outside the 10-day window, but the fact of the matter is they'll be a lot harsher than us.
I'm not looking for a problem, and I've worked with you all
I
the way
under-
along here.
I understand that.
James, you know.
I understand that. That's not even what I want to talk about right now.
Right.
So to go
The
to
new
the
avenue,
DAR,
Bobby?
not the DEP.
No,
Okay.
DEP has to, they have to. That's
Yeah.
part of the whole thing. They have to do this. They have to review it. They have to approve it. The new avenue is they resubmit everything. And hopefully they'll pay attention a little bit better when it comes across their desk. Okay?
So you're voting to get rid of Stan's.
They're gonna reorganize it.
We're not doing anything. We're taking our orders of conditions. We're
I don't understand what you're sending. You're sending,
The order of
Original
conditions that we issued.
OOC Order of conditions are going to be scrubbed, correct, James?
Yes,
And we will start,
and the-
and we will work at this
they will,
with full compliance.
yes,
so what, but we can.
And
still-
everybody's gonna understand, we are embedded with the DEP on this. Okay, we have to work with them.
as
We have
Jimmy
no
would, as
choice in
Jimmy
it.
would say, we're on their radar now.
So,
What-
but out of the, no.
Yeah.
Under the enforcement order, we're gonna have Jim come put the
Yes.
berm back.
That doesn't, nothing changes in the
But
enforcement.
like, but then we don't do anything else until we get a plan.
We monitor it,
We monitor.
we monitor the check
dam,
dams,
we monitor
take
check dam,
pictures after a
we make
heavy rain,
sure
send them
that
in.
The water's not going onto the,
Yes,
and then we'll make sure we get all the rest of the silt out of the area that's left there.
yes, which there hasn't been, even after the heavy rain,
Because
nothing.
it's all gone.
But yes, the,
So-
nothing changes in the enforcement order.
So you guys will be happy when Jim fixed that.
I'm not gonna be happy until there's,
Everything's done.
you're getting hay off of that. Or there's grass growing. I can't, so we're not even, DEP also has been wishy-washy on a lot of this. We get told one thing, then they don't do what they say they're gonna do, and then we're like, what's going on? And they say, well, we're waiting on you. It's a,
But if we do the.
Action from them now on what they will approve for the 401 water quality, not to step in while there's a motion on the table. But based on my conversation with Kim, I know what she will be, I believe I know what she will be approving.
just,
If I have a prediction of it, she's gonna approve, as long as that culvert doesn't go down through the middle and the berms are replaced.
Right.
That's where we stand with that. And we have to put down far more than 5,000 square feet of disturbance.
yes,
So we know what the guidelines are for this to
Yes.
fly with the DEP. Am I correct? Frank,
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
we gotta make sure everybody's on
Wait,
the
you
same.
looked away on camera. I thought you were talking to someone else.
No, I'm sorry, that's why I kind of tried to move to the corner, Frank, so I could kind of get everybody here.
which is difficult to do with the setup.
Yes,
Not a
sir.
problem. I would have been there if I could have.
It's fine, that's why we use Zoom. Jessica, do you have anything you would like to add?
I do not.
So you said Jim was coming Friday?
He's coming Friday.
And
That's
so he's
fine.
gonna fix the,
That's fine, that's under the enforcement, I don't even feel like discussing that anymore tonight.
but I just wanna make sure that if we get that done, then that's,
Just get it done, send us
Right,
pictures
then-
or let us know.
and then the other stuff is, now we have to work with
Yes,
Frank to
Which-
come out with his plan. So,
Frank,
Seems like there's a
Conservation, and
plan.
DEP.
Okay.
The three entities need to work in harmony to get this to a point of a solution. But like, as Jimmy stated, the enforcement and the burn restoration is a separate entity at the bottom of that.
that's the.
And that's as far as Jimmy's gonna be allowed to go, as I understand. You gonna clarify that, Jimmy?
nope. Because that's as far as any of us legally
No.
can go.
As far as Jimmy,
Oh,
anything is just presently.
yes,
the
it is
burn
outlined in the
Order of
enforcement order.
the enforcement order,
Yes.
not the order of conditions, but the enforcement order.
Yes,
So at this point in time, he can give Jim a green light to go in there to restore the burn.
That's what Jessica told me.
Right,
All
that's
right.
right, that's Friday.
And there will be expectations of a degree of water buildup down there.
Right.
What was not then, it will,
What's gonna
has to
happen?
remain.
Just,
What's gonna happen to that in the future?
it's gonna go down where it's supposed to go, it's fine, I showed you where it was.
It isn't what we're,
we've had, I don't know how much rain we've had this year, but it's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So we can't, your field would have been wet regardless.
Right.
It would have been wet.
It's gonna be fine, I
Okay.
showed you where it's gonna go.
I made a
It's done.
motion,
And I
Pat seconded
second it.
yeah,
we're all, you wanna go home, you wanna go home, you wanna go home, I wanna go home.
yeah,
Roll, or vote, please.
yes, Jim Durant.
James Gates, yes.
Yes, Colby Stringer.
Pat Donnelly, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. I will be in touch with the timeline tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
This is just by Westerville, Farm?
Yes, the other half. That's Roy and Stan.
Oh, okay. I guess I have
Thank you.
Are we off the air now?
Yeah.
No,
no,
we're
no.
still being
We're
recorded.
still-
I haven't tried to aggravate anybody here. I've tried to work with you as best as I can right from the start. You know that, James.
I know.
You know, this has been a
It's a
very
first-
unfortunate situation because of all the rain and everything we've had. And I've been cordial with you. I haven't drawn lawyers into this, which I could have done that, and I haven't done that. But, you know, I'm trying to do the best I can do here by you. So hopefully we can get this whole thing over with and be done with it.
So I'll just send pictures to James and Jessica?
Yeah, and include Stan.
Yeah.
You want us to send you a copy of the thing that we
I
sent
did.
to
I
Stan?
sent it.
from- You did, you got it already?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you need from us?
No, not at this moment.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Won't do that again.
Yeah. I understand.
Good night. This whole topic brings an unprecedented amount of stress to this room.
I don't think there's anything that's,
We all,
Let's move on, please.
before you adjourn that, is the NRC being brought into this?
good question.
Jessica, do you know if Dan Lenthal, have you been in contact with Dan Lenthal with this? Has he spoken to you? Anybody from, AR?
No,
No, I mean, we wouldn't have involvement with that. So no, no one has contacted us.
What I'm trying to
Either way,
say,
he doesn't
Jimmy,
have a
is that
farm.
we need to make sure that this does not, he can play that card.
we want to make sure it doesn't, and he can't,
That's
because
what I'm
he
saying.
doesn't have a farm plan with, on file with us, or, even a
He
paper
would have
copy.
been discussing it with Dan, but that, for him to submit a plan saying that that wasn't that, this was this, it can change it. He can put a change in it now that he's in an agriculture status. But if the violation was prior to, his status is non-agricultural in regards of that, it's in the violation, so he is, the Department of Ag cannot work with him. Because he can supersede a bunch of stuff, being
Yes,
in
but-
agriculture.
And he still has to
You've
come,
gotta get that declared,
and he still
it'll
has
bite you,
to make contact with conservation before doing any other work.
correct,
You know that, because you've done it.
correct. So,
There's no reason this should be declared ag after the
that
fact.
does not apply to this issue, that's all, it
You
needs
know, it
to
was
be
like
declared.
June or July that he was getting that
He knew what he
status.
was doing. You know. And it was for this reason that he would do that.
So if he wants to threaten, as he walked out, it was
Yeah.
recorded, the lawyers, bring the frickin' lawyers.
That's why I said that. So,
And it's recorded. Right now, it's not,
two sides of that blade, you gotta watch which one he's gonna use.
I know.
Okay, as long as you know. I've been
It's,
there, done that, that's why I'm saying it. So. That should have been put into the motion, I think.
it was to rescind the order, though. It wasn't to,
You could it doesn't matter, I get it, you get what my point.
I do. So
Is that to
Jessica,
be-
we want to make sure it's noted that when this is resubmitted, that he can't file under ag because he doesn't have an active farm plan with us.
Filed, which it would have to be
It
filed.
has to be filed, it has to be approved by us.
Correct, correct. So that's why it made sense why he was talking to Dan. I did not know
He's
why
trying to-
Lenthal came into the, all of a sudden
He's
it
just
made,
dropping names.
Oh, no, they're not the host
I
of one
know.
you spoke to,
I
trust me.
understand that, but he is.
Right, right.
I-
So is that put to rest?
for now,
Okay,
it,
so the orders
don't
of
wanna-
condition start fresh.
there is no order of conditions now.
So from the berm to the plugged up culvert, it starts over.
Burn to the plugged up culvert on the rail trail side or on
No.
top?
Up top.
Up top, yes.
So we're all set from the two areas where the berms were
Yep.
reconstructed. From that point, you're gonna reestablish the square footage of disturbance, which is gonna be in excess of 5,000. And they're not gonna be able to put in the culvert.
Right.
Just
Correct.
Kim will not approve it. You won't get the 401 if she sees a culvert.
The area of disturbance, and this is, I just want to make sure everyone knows the area of disturbance for the area that was filled with silt is in excess of over 100 by 20 or 25 feet.
Beyond the road of the rail trail, that's splayed
Yes.
out.
Yes.
That's
So
in
that
excess of
has to
5,000.
be
Inclusive.
included
It's
with
inclusive.
everything else.
Of disturbance.
I measured it with Jessica on Google Earth and it was,
62, 64.
no, not.
That's
Jessica,
my
offhand?
guess.
So let me stumble here? Okay, thank you, we appreciate it.
I think it was, 30 or 40, depending on how you measure it. It was like 30 or 40,000 square feet.
40,000
Yes,
square
and
feet.
that doesn't include another area that we suspect could be the pile of stripped material.
Jessica, you guys came up with close to 40,000 square feet of actual siltation turbidity.
Well, of the area disturbed, of the area that has been, of wetland that has been disturbed, either with turbidity that has settled in it or soil that has washed from it.
Gullies and. And now do we understand where DEP went and said, only 5,000?
We're on their radar.
Ping, 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 ping.
So
I knew that the moment she looked at it and frowned and said, oh, we're gonna put a culvert down through the middle of this.
I'm gonna say it again, we all bring what we can to this commission. Not all of us can commit the same amount of time. I appreciate everyone that attends meetings and helps us. Otherwise,
I've only
there's
been into
nothing.
this whole McGee thing for three months, 4 months.
Yeah, and you already wanna kill someone.
No, I just understand where it's all rolling and listening to this, seen it over 15 years.
All right, look, I gotta ask first, please, because early morning coming up.
Okay.
Still stuff to do.
We'll move on to a request for certificate of compliance for 50 Highland Street.
Wait, didn't we second, we all voted. I'm
Yeah.
behind a little,
Okay.
that's right. Let's see, it was, okay.
Jessica, certificate of compliance for 50 Highland.
Yep. So this order was issued a few years ago and then had an extension process last year, I think. But they are now done with the work. And it was for a new construction home and driveway and a part of a retaining wall. So a portion of all three of those features was in the 100-foot wetland buffer. So a site visit was made to confirm that things were built, pretty accordance to plan.
When I first got on. Keep going,
So-
Jessica, just
Yeah.
reminding.
So anyway, it just, all looked good. So I recommend the issuance of a certificate of compliance for this one.
From the secretary was,
We did the extension when I first got on Highland.
oh, the house on the left-hand side?
Yes, it was an in-law. It's all-
Okay,
It's all stabilized now.
the house is to the left and the disturbance is just over to
On
the
the
right
right, yep.
edge. I had looked at that before. He didn't want to do the reclamation on it. Everything had already naturally rehabilitated.
Yeah,
And it still has taken
Yep.
it to,
the birches took a beating this year for some reason. but
that was one of the
all
last sidewalks I did. With no trees
Yes.
being planted, everything took well, and he was right to ask. Because it would have made more disturbance to go in there and plant it.
Yep, so the grass is done with the retaining wall.
Gotcha, gotcha.
We need a motion and a second, please, and I have the copies to sign.
Make a motion to request certificate of compliance for 50 Highland Street. That's a DEP number here.
308-0667.
And I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Jim Doran, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Cole Streeter, yes.
And Pat Gemma, yes.
I will pass these around the table. I get the rest of the copies. Sorry.
I assume this is why Kevin wasn't at his meeting tonight?
That and he had to fix the truck. Alright, 3.2 review finances. I don't have it. My video right now, if what we need to do is come up with an idea of what we need money for moving forward. One of the things I've thought of is a printing budget. We can't do direct mailers. We don't have that funding. We don't have funding to print manuals and bind them nicely, stuff like that. So any sort of other things we feel we should request money for, we need to think about and add into our budget for this upcoming year, because it's going to be here before we know it. Other than that, I don't have it in me tonight to review.
You have time on the table to get through that.
Tonight, or?
Not tonight, in the days to come. When's the fiscal cutoff?
It hasn't been released yet. Jessica, you haven't gotten an email from Eric, correct?
Correct.
We're trying to get ahead of the game. Joe.
Does this go
We're
to
trying to help us too.
go along with what finds that applications, everything is you discussed that 2 meetings
So
ago.
that was part of it.
Correct,
Now is,
a piece of it, so we established we were gonna be going up.
Yep.
A,
And that
B,
was
C, and
approved.
D, and it was approved, correct.
now it's
Step 2 is
requesting monies for,
an increase on the budget. I mean, like Jessica explained, to do certain things, I mean, she has what, 28 hours a week? Or,
well, she doesn't have any with us technically.
Yeah, really.
It's with
I-
Range.
but with
Yes,
it,
it's like 32.
and that gets eaten up immediately.
Yeah,
Way
I
short.
don't even want to know how much time he spends doing our stuff versus
What
land use.
she still has to do.
So an example is, like I said, is it'd be great to send informational
I say, yes,
with like tax bills, but how are we gonna pay for that? Rob it from something else?
that's why we expressed to our co-chair, that it needs to go in front of the selectmen, that we are in deficit of our
Yes.
fiscals. So we'll work on
So it's, you know, establishing that, you know, basic office supplies, which comes from the land use. side.
Sidewalks that she has to go to, the vehicle to be used.
That's part of it. That is already included in the budget, and that's part of their union negotiation.
Yep, yep, and they have a vehicle, actually. They have the ability to say they gave them a vehicle, so you're not gonna be able to get anywhere with that. They'll say, "Now, look at this, Jim," so.
So, but professional services or, you know, memberships, we max that out instantly when we come into a new fiscal year. There's other organizations that I'm sure we should be part of that we don't have the money to. Simple projects like signage, you know.
Trail repair. There's a
Yeah,
lot of stuff like that. Sending us to some good meetings, some good classes to actually.
well, so that's that we can pay for that, but again, I'm gonna go back to the printing. I'm gonna go back to the printing. It'd be great to have a spiral bound copy of things.
True, I agree.
Who's gonna put that bill, or are we gonna have to go in front of the select board for that?
You would appropriations, you have to go in front of it under appropriations for.
I think, I don't know anyone else, I think that's kind of silly to have to do that. So it's, but by the next meeting, you can email me, text me, call me, but if you have ideas, just jot them down and send them over to Jessica and I, and then we can have a list, of things that we want to add. But like, another example is a freaking document scanner.
We have one to our exposure, don't we? Just for,
Oh my God, Jimmy, the quality that is uploaded is just,
so in other words, they're able to, once again, well, you do have one here, so that'll fall on Moody's. Could I ask Jessica a quick question?
of course.
Jessica, when you're doing work from your usual responsibilities, and now you're doing conservation, have you been able to put in for a stipend or any type of ability to say, listen, my workload is flowing in to conservations, so there should be some type of per diem that she should be getting compensated for it.
I wish. $1,000 a day. No, I mean, I have a 30-hour week. I have a 30-hour week due to my own parental constraints, and my own mental capacity. So I just, you know, I make it work.
She has the ability to separate which work she's doing to, whatever, if it's under land use, it's land use. If she's doing work under conservation, she's technically, should be under the conservation side of things.
So
I don't
she
know
should
if
be
it
able to-
screws up her hourly rate though, but
She should be getting compensated for.
yes. And Eric,
We have,
admin has stated that.
we've done it before.
So you shouldn't be shy. Don't feel bad.
I'm not. I don't feel bad. I know, like, I have a hard limit to 30 hours, so I don't go crazy. So
I'm just saying, if you're in excession of those 30 hours and you're recruiting hours, I think,
that's okay. Yep, that's okay.
shh, don't say that on TV. You know?
That's what's okay. You get paid for your work you're doing.
I know that. Yes, I'm saying it's okay. Like, as in, yes, I'm doing that, but in like a 1 or 2 hour increment, if that. So.
All I'm saying, if she's accruing hours for conservation, she should be able to be
Compensated for it. I agree.
per diem or however they should do it. They have appropriations to do it. Like I said.
They'll give you a pizza party.
Yeah.
So by next meeting, we're gonna have other things on our agenda, but we really need to just come up with a list of bare necessities that we need funding for. And it's essentially an arbitrary number at this point, but we have asked for capital expenses in the past. We haven't utilized the entire line item, which kind of pissed me off, but we have to, do it and stick with it, and, you know, it's use it or lose it. So anyone else have anything to add?
No, well, I'll think about things, see if I can come up with some ideas.
National River Watershed Association's looking, has opportunities for volunteers. I'm not gonna go through the list. They have stuff that they wanna do. If you're interested, you can contact Joanne Ward, the office admin over there. DEP Zero and Nero stormwater presentation slides, that those are available on the OneDrive. Jessica, you attended that. Can you just explain to us what it was, please?
Yeah, so the interests of Mass General Law and, you know, just the benefits, the function and values of wetlands include things like protecting water supply, public and private, storm damage prevention and flood control, protecting wildlife habitat, and just a lot, you know, natural resource protection goals. So this presentation was just about how conservation commissions look for different ways to continue to protect those interests in an active application for a project that meets the stormwater standards criteria. So I definitely encourage you to look through that presentation. It's a little on the technical side, but it was really helpful. And I think, Pat, you attended that too, right?
Yes.
Did I miss anything that they talked about? But
No, but it was really interesting. Yeah, I really watched.
Yeah, if anyone needs a copy of those slides, I can get them printed out, but it was a good one.
Okay, FEMA proposed flood maps and appeal period notice. Jessica, this is something you've been working on.
Yes. FEMA, we are within the 90-day appeal period from FEMA sending out new proposed flood hazard maps for our town, many towns, but our Townsend is included. Mm-hmm. So there are map changes that are currently proposed. So I can do like a rundown of it real quick if you guys want, or if not, just you can come and visit the office at any point in time too, and we can do it then. But just going through the existing flood zone maps versus the proposed ones to see if there are any like red flag areas that are proposed to be mapped within regulatory floodways that shouldn't be, and then how to appeal that back to FEMA. So I'm here as a resource for you. It is not my line of expertise at all, but I know enough to be dangerous and hopefully helpful. But it does, I mean, even from like a personal property ownership level, you know, if FEMA's proposing to put a flood zone on your property, you will then need flood insurance. I know James went through that at one point, and I was talking to someone from the planning board today. Same deal. FEMA mapped her property in a floodplain, so when she was refinancing her home, she had to pay flood insurance. So I definitely encourage you at least to look selfishly at your own property. But you know, otherwise, we can start looking at Conservation Commission properties too. So,
And Squanicook Meadows was part of that, the change.
So Jessica, with the flood maps, from the old to where we are with the new ones, is there an overlay so you can see where the areas have changed or they've increased?
nope.
Is that what you're saying?
You
Is-
just have to have two maps side by side and look at it the old fashioned way with a
Okay.
magnifying glass. So it's not like highlighted in red or that I found. There's nothing like highlighted in red. So yeah.
But your point being that if you are now involved, if they've exceeded where their flood maps are and it goes over onto your property, you are gonna have to review your documents for flood insurance.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, or you could hire a engineer to do a floodplain study on your property to see if, like, based on the elevations of things, you know, if it actually makes sense or not that the proposed flood zone is accurate. But that would, you know, that would be the onus of the personal property owner.
Now, does the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA work hand in hand putting this map together? And that's the last question I have on that.
I don't know.
ACEC's always had a lot of input on flood area. That's all I recall in working with them on certain flood areas.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw some notice somewhere, sort of with their technique of how they did the new mappings, but I don't have that right now. But it has something to do with elevations, and you know actually, I don't want to talk anymore. I don't really know. Something about elevation points.
Okay. Please talk to Jessica, come see her, or make an appointment, and if you have a general concern, so that you know, because the appeal, the maps, preliminary maps opened August 28th, and it's a 90-day appeal. So what was that, the middle of November, end of November?
Yeah, I think it's about the end of November.
All right, so we don't want to, if you have a concern, please. Well, 824, 5.1 MACC 2023 Fall Conferences, October 28th at Devon's. It's a full day of fun. And you contacted MACC or Jessica to sign up, not to put it on Jessica's lap, but. So, next meeting, items for discussion at the next meeting, possibly 61 Edwards. Budget. Anything else from anyone? Not all at once now. Well, next meeting is Wednesday, October 25th, 2023 at 7 PM at Board of Select Chambers, second floor. Meeting will also be held via virtual Zoom remote in accordance with COVID-19 safe meeting guidelines. Can I get a motion to adjourn at 8:25 PM?
Motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:25 PM.
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
yes.
James Gates, yes.
Oversharer, yes.
So we only have, what, 2 more meetings left till the end of the year? Just,
3.
3?
Thank you.